night, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of Mind Matters, where we will be discussing matters of the mind because the mind matters. I'm Altamare Elvis, and I want to thank you so much for joining me on this mindset journey. We all have dreams for our lives, and where we all want to we all have dreams as to where we want our lives to go, who we want to go with, we want our lives to look like in the future. If you have dreams for your lives, that means you have set some goals. Tonight, the topic we're going to be looking at is go for gold. I'm excited about tonight's episode because I have a special guest with me tonight. Someone who I admire because she has excellent work ethics. She is diligent, hardworking, patient, thorough, humble, down to earth. She is one of my mentors, and she has been adding value to my life for the past 4 months and is helping me with my life mindset journey. She's genuine and selfless, and she is a born and raised Grand Bahamian. Welcome to the live, Sophia Lightbourne.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Welcome. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to edify persons tonight about going for their goals.
Definitely appreciate you for having me on, man. It's been a blessing. I was listening to you just now and I was like, is she talking about me or someone else? No, but definitely super excited to be able to, hop on with you and be able to share, just a little bit about what I know,
Yes, thank you so much. All right, so Sophia, just give us a little bit about your background. Who is Sophia Lightbourne? What is it that you do for a living? Is what you're doing now, has that always been the dream for your life?
Definitely not. I'm from Freeport, Bahamas. So everyone watching the live who may be from the Bahamas, 242 stand up. I appreciate you for really giving me the platform to share. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've always been that person who wanted to dabble in every type of business you could think about. I mean, if it exists, I've tried it. Trust me. I may not have done well at it, but I trust me, I've tried it. And it's just been something, my parents are both entrepreneurs. So it's kind of what I've seen my whole life. And I just knew that was, something that I always wanted to do. I wanted to be an employer rather than an employee.
Okay.
But I just didn't know really how to start that process. But I just was someone who's always willing to take a leap of faith and try new things and be innovative and creative. And that was always like a passion of mine. As far as what I do now, as far as, mentorship and leadership and speaking, and definitely not. I was the shyest person, probably growing up, man. Like my friends now, they still laugh because they're like, Sophie, I cannot believe you talk, because in school, like for the entire, 12 years, you were silent. So it's really, funny how things turn around when you've got a goal and you see, the path that you want to take. Sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone. Yes. And be willing to do what's required, even if it's not, what you thought you would do. So definitely not.
Yes, most definitely, when you want to step out of your comfort zone, you're not going to grow while you're in your comfort zone. In order for you to grow, you're going to have to step out of that. And that's what I'm doing. Yes. Thank you so much for pushing me. Because if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't be here tonight doing what I'm doing.
And you're doing such a great job with these lives, man. They've been so powerful and impactful since you started doing them. So I'm so glad that you took that initiative to get started.
Thank you. All right. So John Maxwell, in his book, The Journey to Success, says that goals create a roadmap to success. Right. What do you think, or what are your views on the importance of setting goals?
Man, I think it's critical. I think that it's one of the most important things that we have to do in life, not just in business, but in life in general, right? I'm sure you've heard the saying, my dad used to say it all the time. And it's funny that come full circle all these years later, I hear it from my mentors. And he said, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Yeah. And I didn't really get it back then because I was like, I'm just spontaneous. I don't want to make plans. I just want to go with the flow. But that's not a good thing all the time. You know, especially when it comes to setting goals, you've got to have a target, because the only way that you can actually hit a goal is if you set it. And I say it all the time that a lot of people aren't really where they want to be in their lives, not because they set a goal too high and miss it. It's usually because they set no goal and then they hit nothing every time. So I believe that setting goals is really one of the most critical things, but often overlooked things that most adults, right, we don't set goals. You know, we kind of just wonder and say, we let life happen to us. And I'm a big believer that if you don't set the target, man, things are going to happen to you that you don't necessarily want, but you have no control over it because you didn't set a clearly defined goal. You know?
Yeah, I was actually one of those persons, because I have a circle of friends who, you know, they're always planning for their lives. And I always say to them, what's the sense of planning when, you know, you have no control over your life? God has control over your life. But the Bible tells us that we're supposed to have a vision, and we're supposed to write it down, make it plain. So, you know, I wasn't setting goals. And I think because one of the reasons I wasn't setting goals was because I've been disappointed with setting my goals, but we'll get to that later on as to how we deal with that. But what are some of the steps you would have taken to, you know, set your goals for your life?
Right. So for me, with setting goals, you know, I've gone to a lot of different, you know, I'm a student. I'm always a student. I'm always learning, always trying to just become the best version of myself. And I've gone to a lot of different conferences, a lot of different events, right? Workshops. And it's always, I don't care who the speaker is, what level it is, there's always some goal setting part to these seminars, right? And they have something called SMART goals. So if you're on the call and you don't know what SMART goals are, this is the time you may want to grab a pen, right? SMART goals, it's really some categories that you set for yourself when setting goals, to make sure that you're setting goals that you're going to actually achieve. Because it's kind of like you said, ultimately, like sometimes we set goals, but we don't set them. We don't follow this strategy or this process, or make some of the goals possible but not probable. You know, sometimes you got to make sure that your goals are attainable. Now, we do want to have impossible goals, right? Those goals that's going to stretch you. That's those goals that seem like ain't no way I can make that happen. You've got to set those big goals, but you've got to have some milestones or checkpoints on the way to those goals as well. So SMART goals for me is you've got to have specific goals. Okay, they got to be specific. This is the one that I think a lot of people skip. People say, hey, I want to be wealthy. That's not specific. You've got to have a dollar amount. Like, how much do you want to earn on a monthly basis? How much do you want to have in your bank account? If, you know, it doesn't always have to be financial goals, right? It could be your business goal. It can be a customer goal. You know, what kind of revenue do you want? It could be a health goal. You can't just say, I want to lose weight. You've got to say, I want to lose 15 pounds, you know, and you've got to be specific. So you've got to have specific goals. The S stands for specific. I also like to say, you want to keep them simple too. Keep them simple, you know, keep them simple, keep them significant, so that you can actually run after the goal. Okay, so SMART goals. The M in SMART is measurable. You've got to be able to measure the goal, right? You can only improve in your life what you can track, what you can measure. So you've got to have a way to be able to measure if you are even on track to achieving that goal. So if it comes to, you know, let's say health or wellness or weight, right? Because a lot of people going into the holidays, starting the new year, everyone want to go to the gym. Everyone want to lose weight. So you've got to set that goal of the specific amount. And then you've got to measure what's your weight right now, so that you can actually see if you are making progress towards the goal. See, ultimately, that's the thing I think a lot of people skip, is we set the goal, but on the process or on that journey to the goal, we are only so focused on the destination, the final result, that we miss all of the milestones along the way. You know, in order for you to lose 20 pounds, you have to lose 5 first. So you got to celebrate that milestone. You've got to celebrate that accomplishment. So you want to make sure that your goals are measurable. The 8 is they've got to be achievable. They've got to be attainable. Okay. I would not set, I mean, you can set a goal and say, hey, I want to go build a house on Mars, but that ain't really attainable right now, right?
Not right now, no.
Exactly. You want to make sure that your goals are achievable. They're attainable. All right. The art, they've got to be relevant. They've got to be kind of reasonable. Now, I'm a type of person, I don't believe in being reasonable. I believe more in being radical, right? Setting radical goals. But you also, when it comes with reason, maybe it's the time frame that you're going to hit the goal in. You know, I'm not saying don't say you want to make $10 million, but can you do it in the next 30 days? Maybe not, right?
Right.
So you want to be reasonable with that time frame. And that's the last thing. They've got to have a time limit. They've got to have a deadline. We say it all the time. If you set a goal, but you don't have a deadline, it's not a goal. It's just a wish.
Yeah.
You know, and I've proven that over and over and over, is that think about our power bill or our phone bill or our cable bill, any bill that we have. If those companies didn't give us a due date, when would we pay them?
Never. We never gonna pay them.
Exactly. We would let like our electric bill go 3 years and never pay it and get a ridiculous bill. So you've got to have some type of deadline to tie you to it. And you know how it is. A lot of us, we all work well under pressure. So sometimes if you know you've got a party starting at the house and people are going to start arriving in 1 hour, you like all over the place. Like, I got to get it done. And you're ready. But if you knew that they're coming at 2 o'clock, it's 8 in.the morning, you're around the house chilling. So you've got to have a time limit, you know, on your goal to actually push you to actually, you know, have a sense of urgency to getting it done. So those are some of the things that I kind of use when I'm setting goals. I always set SMART goals.
Awesome. Thank you. So goals give us direction. They give us that focus. As you said, they give us that milestone and markers, and it gives us evaluation points. So,
Yes.
you know, you set those big goals, but then you have to have those smaller goals in between to reach those, so that you don't get drained before you get to that big, because you can get frustrated before you get, if you have that big goal set, that long-term goal set, and you don't have any smaller goals to celebrate in between, and especially if that long-term goal is something that is difficult to get to.
Yes.
It can get frustrating, and you can end up quitting, which is something I was going to ask, but you answered the question for me already, because a lot of persons, they make their New Year's resolutions in January, especially one of the biggest ones is going, as you said, fitness. In January, the gym is jam-packed. By February, March, you see everybody, you know, starting to dwindle down, because you know, they set this big goal, oh, I want to have a summer body by July, but then they don't have that small goal. Okay, I want to lose 5 pounds this week, or 1 pound this week, or I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to just cut this out first, instead of just jumping. Okay, I'm going to just, you know,
and go in vegan.
Turkey on everything. So yeah, it becomes difficult. All right, so we touched on it earlier. You know, sometimes we have these goals and we set out on these goals, and life happens.
Right.
I actually, when I was younger, my dream, my goal was by the age of 24 to have my PhD. I started college my university when I was 16. And so for me, I wanted to finish my PhD by the time I was 24. That did not happen. I actually was a teenage mother. So I had my first child at 17. I got married at 17. So that kind of put my goals on hold to some extent. So I just finished my master's last year. So yes, so it took me a whole lot longer to get there. But at the end of the day, I did not give up. You know, a lot of persons, because they run into some difficulty, or they have some setbacks or detour to their goals, they have this tendency just to give up. Okay, I'm not going to, I'm a teenage mother, so, you know, I'm a statistic now. And, you know, yes, life becomes a little bit more difficult, because it's not just you have to take care of now. You still have you now have a child. And for me, it was a child and a husband. So things didn't go as quickly as I wanted them to go. But at the end of the day, you can't just, you know, quit. So Sophia, what are some of the steps that you can take if you, or have you had any detours
many,
trying to meet any of your goals that you've set?
Yeah, many, man. Of course, this is life, right? Life is never perfect. We all got this ideal time frame, this plan of action. And it never happens. I mean, very seldom it happens exactly the way we want it to happen. But one of the things that I think helps on the journey of accomplishing your goals when you're setting it, and this is something that I learned over time, right, is that when you're setting a goal, especially if it's a big goal, a longer term goal, you want to also at that same time write down everything that can stop you from accomplishing it, every distraction that can come up. Because they're like for you, right? Going for your degree, things can happen. You can have a kid, you can find a relationship, you can get less focused on school and focus on something else. You may get sick, something may happen. And like with me, in our business, I'm a business owner, and one of the things that I do is focus on people. It's a people business. It's a relationship business. So when I'm heading to certain goals, I know the amount of customers I need coming into my business to achieve certain levels. Right. So in that process, I know that some of those people are going to quit. I know some of those people are not going to remain in the business. So I have to be prepared for that. I have to be aware of it. So at least when it happens, it doesn't throw me totally off. So a lot of times you got to face your distraction head on, so that when it comes, it's not like coming out of left field. Now there's going to be some things we can't handle, right? Or we can't predict, maybe somewhat like deaths in the family or things like that can completely throw you off, that you cannot prepare for. But what I would say is that you got to set that goal, and your goal has to be rooted so deeply within you for some reason that it doesn't matter what happens, you're going to be unshakable. Or even if something happens, it's going to be a temporary setback. It's not going to throw you off completely, And another thing is that when you set your goal with your time limit or your deadline, you got to understand that you might miss the deadline. Right. That doesn't mean throw the goal away. That just means reset the deadline, change the date. So if you said you wanted to do it by, 24, you're only 26 now. So, you may have just had to say, hey, I want to get my PhD by the time I'm 30. But that doesn't mean don't go for the PhD anymore. But just being aware of what could happen and having that realistic expectation that life isn't perfect. It's not going to always be smooth sailing. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be tests. And I say it all the time, we get tests so we can have testimonies, right? Yeah. That's the reason why we face tests in life, is to see if we're going to persist through it, to see how bad you really want to go. Mm-hmm. So for me, man, I've had tons of challenges in my life overall, but my why, right? Why, yes. Why am I doing this? Why am I on this journey? Why did I even set the goal in the first place? That reason has to be so deep that it's it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure it happens. Yes. And being around people too, ultimately, is important, who are going to help you to stay on target. Yes. One of the biggest challenges I think a lot of people have is when we set goals that seem unrealistic to the average person, most people around us discourage us from that goal. Why you want to take that route? Why not do what everyone's doing? Exactly. Right? But you've got to have a community of people who are around you, are listen, no matter what, man, keep going. You got this. It might take you a little longer than you expected, but keep going. The only way you fail is if you quit. Yes, you need that support system, that encouragement. It's critical. Because as we say, as I said, it gets discouraging at times. You get frustrated at times when you're trying to get to these goals and you're not able to get there. So you need that encouragement. You have to have a why. You have to have a reason why you're going for that goal. And as you said, it has to be deep seated inside of you so that nothing deters you. A lot of times persons, they think that when you set a goal that you have your motivation and your willpower is enough. It is not enough. Environment is stronger than willpower. Yes. Environment. So, while you have that willpower and you have that motivation, whether it's intrinsic motivation, you have to have that support around you, because no man is an island, and it is more difficult to do it by yourself than it is to do it with the support. And we're supposed, as you said, we're supposed to be precise with our goals. We want to write them down. I think this is something that you do. This is something that you do. You not just write it down. You take pictures of your goals and you post them all around your home, in your bathroom, everywhere. Yes, we call that creating a belief environment, because the only thing that usually limits us or stops us from achieving our goals is our belief system. You like like think about it. Let's say, and I like to talk about money because that's one of my goals, right? And I believe that God put us on this earth to create wealth. So I believe that we're supposed to be abundant, right? But when it comes to like, let's just use money, because this is one that a lot of people can relate to. Mm-hmm. If you say, I want to make $1 million, and say you have nowhere close to $1 million, right? A lot of times, if we don't have people in maybe our family, in our community, in our immediate circle who have $1 million, it's like unrealistic, right? So we start to develop subconsciously these limiting beliefs. Like, man, $1 million that ain't gonna happen. That can't happen for me. That doesn't happen for us or people around me, right? So it's a limiting belief. So in order to shift your belief system, you got to be intentional about what you're seeing and what you're hearing and what you're believing. So for me, I create my belief system, right? Which means that I put the picture of the house I want to live in. I've got a check for $1 million written to me, right? That I have on my desk. I've got the goals everywhere, in my bedroom, on my bathroom, everywhere, on my phone, in my car, right? I have it everywhere. So I'm constantly seeing the goal. And guess what? Whatever you ask for when you pray, like if you keep hearing it, if you keep seeing it, guys, if you start to believe it, it's yours. It's done. But the reason that a lot of us don't get our goals is because we say we don't believe. And when your belief system, if you don't believe you can do something, y'all, it's not gonna happen. They say it all the time. If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. So I want to believe I can do anything. So I speak those goals. I see those goals. I say it to myself. I speak affirmations. It's borderline crazy, but it works. I promise you, it works. It works.
Faith is about being crazy. You have to have crazy faith in order to be successful.
Definitely.
Because one of the things that we're going to look at later on in another episode is faith versus fear. They're basically the same thing. Just that we're looking at two different. They basically do the same thing. They both take a sense of belief, a sense of of believing what it is that's going to happen. So we're going to look at that in a later episode. But before we go, is there any last word of advice you'd want to give to persons who are setting goals and trying to achieve their goals?
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's kind of a recap of what we shared today, which is first, you got to set the goal and write it down. Do not skip the writing it down part, y'all. Like people say they just know their goal. They're thinking it's not enough. It's like a principle. It's a law. You've got to write it down. That's a part of the formula. If you skip that step, you're skipping a pivotal part. It says, write the vision down. So those that see it will run. The only way you're going to be able to run towards your goal is you see the goal written down. That's a major part. Don't skip that. Don't put it in your phone. Write it on paper. It says write it down. Old school, okay? So I want you to write your goals down. Like, it's funny because my book here right now, this is a book I started at the January 1st. And if you look here, well, you can't see, but it says 2020 goals. And one of my mentors, we had to write down 300 goals before January 1st. 300. That was a tough exercise because when you start to do it, after 20, I don't got no more goals, right? But it's an exercise, and I would challenge you guys to do that. Like before 2021 begins, write down 300 goals that you want in every area. And don't just focus on one set of goals. You got to focus on business, career, family, spirituality, health, wealth. Holistically, you got to set goals in every area of your life, right? So that's one thing. You want to write it down. And then the next thing is, like I said just now, you want to create that belief environment. A lot of us hear about creating vision boards, right? Mm-hmm. The reason that I don't really buy into vision boards is for a simple reason, not because it's not a great idea, but here's what we do. We go and we cut out the pictures of the car and the house and everything. We stick them on the poster board, right? We make this nice thing. But guess what? When we're done with the vision board, we take that poster board and stick it in a closet. So you never see it. So it's pointless. You've got to be seeing the vision all the time. So that's why you got to put the signs up, put the goals up, put them in the bathroom. You got to see them all the time. I walk around with a goal card in my wallet that has my goal. So anytime I go to pay for something, I'm always moving it out the way. So I'm always seeing it. I'm always hearing it. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing I'll say is, when you write your goals down, say them every day. Like, say them every day, because it's not only what you're seeing, it's also what you're speaking. And when what you speak, you're also hearing. So if you're speaking your goals over and over and over again, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm healthy. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm wealthy. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've impacted the lives of over 1,000 people, right? If that's what you're speaking, you're also hearing it. Now you're building your belief because you're seeing it, you're speaking it, you're hearing it. Your mind doesn't know what's real or fake. It just knows to align you with everything that's going to make it manifest in your life. But you've got to write it down. You got to speak it. You got to see it. And you got to just know it's already done. That's and you got to, I believe you just have to have massive amounts of faith, you know, in something greater than you, and then in yourself as well, you know?
I see somebody commented on Facebook and said, it's good to keep your goals secret from some people. How do you feel about that?
Well, if you feel like you've got to keep your goals secret from some people, you need to remove those people from your environment. It's not about you keeping the goal, it's them that got to go. You know, it's because the people that you have around are so critical to your success. Like if I can't share my goals with you, you don't need to be around me. If I feel malice or envy or jealousy, or you're not buying into my vision or what we're doing together collectively, you can't be in my space right now. And sometimes that's okay. I say it all the time. In this journey of success, a lot of times you've got to leave people alone so you can go back and lead them, you know? And sometimes that's the part we don't want to do. We don't want to leave our homegirl or our homeboy or our significant other sometime, you know, behind. But sometimes it's required, because even a plane, you can't take all your baggage. You gotta pick and choose what you take. So you gotta make sure you filter your environment, make sure that everyone around you is helping you go towards the goal, because if not, they're pulling you further away from it. And in life, you're either growing or dying. So you gotta make those tough decisions sometimes.
And in the business that we're in, you know, we definitely have to have these goals that we set, because Sophia and I are part of the same organization. As I said, she is one of my mentors. She is very pivotal in my growth. So, you know, this organization that we're a part of is all about empowering. It's all about education. It's all about ensuring that we are edifying people, and we're it's not just about, okay, you know, you want to make some money and you want to, you know, get rich or be wealthy. It's about changing lives. And when we set the, you know, the Bible tells us that when you pray for something, you don't receive it because you ask with the wrong motives. So when we're doing things out of the right motives and asking for it with the right motives, when we set our goals with the intentions of helping others, with the intentions of getting persons out of debt and financially stable, then, you know, God is going to bless what we're doing, because he said you have to ask with the right motive.
For sure, definitely. Right. I say it all the time. What we're doing as a part of, you know, our organization, if you don't know about it, get with Ultimate Race. She'll help you guys learn more. But we're literally doing kingdom work, man. We're pushing, you know, for people to become the best version of themselves and live in our purpose, not just to be here existing and paying bills and dying. You know, we were put, God said he gave us the power to have dominion. That means to dominate everything. But we've been dominated. So it's time to shift that thinking and get our power back. And sometimes it takes getting around people who are believing bigger a whole lot faster, and it's going to help build your belief as well. But I appreciate you for having me on, man. This was fun.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Thank you for joining me tonight. I can't thank you enough for all that you're doing in my life and for all that you're doing in the lives of everybody in the organization. You're just an awesome individual. You may not know it, or you know, you're, because she's such a humble person, you know, she doesn't realize how awesome she is, how much she impacts lives. But Sophia, you are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Everyone, remember, set your goals, write them down, make sure that they are smart, and ensure that you believe that. And the most important thing, not just believe, you're going to take action, because you don't want to set goals and don't take action. You have to take action. And if you run into some detour or some setbacks, evaluate what's happening, set new goals, and continue. All right. Thank you so much for viewing. If you want, you can view right here, or you can check out my YouTube page, YouTube channel. Yes, I have started a YouTube channel,
He's
so you
got a
can go right
YouTube,
there.
guys.
Go right there, check it out. See you on our episode next week as we continue on this mindset journey to success. Enjoy your week, and may God continue to bless each and every one of you and your families. Remember, change your mindset, change your lives. What's on your mind?